Hello again. In the wake of the television drama Adolescence, increasingly strident demands are being made in some quarters to ban smartphones in schools and make it illegal for children under the age of 16 to use social media. The playwright who wrote Adolescence is currently making such demands now. This is foolish and wrong-headed and shows a very warped view of the world. I seldom mention my own family, but in this instance I think that a personal anecdote might be helpful to illustrate the point which I wish to make. When my daughter was young, from the age of 11, I allowed her to access the internet for an hour a day. For this purpose, I let her use a laptop in the living room where the screen was visible to her mother and father. We both kept an eye on what was on that screen as we moved to and fro. When she was 13, she asked us if she could join an early virtual community known as Habbo Hotel. Some viewers might remember this from many years ago. It was very primitive by modern standards, with blocky cartoon figures as avatars moving around a very basic setting and speaking to each other by means of typed words which appeared on the screen. It seemed harmless enough and was supposedly designed for children. This experiment lasted 3 days. On the third day, I was looking over her shoulder and saw that a cartoon character had approached my daughter's avatar and used crude sexual language. At which point I pulled the plug on that particular enterprise, and that was the end of Habbo Hotel in my daughter's life. There was later a bit of a scandal about this business, about Habbo Hotel and sexual language and adults using it and interacting with children. I can't remember when it was, 2012, 2013 maybe. Here is the point I am making. My daughter's access to the internet was controlled and supervised by her parents. They watched what she was doing and were there to step in if necessary. There was no need for the government to pass any laws or limit what happened or involve itself in any way at all. Parents are responsible for their children's well-being and safety, and this applies to their use of the internet just as much as any other aspect of their lives. It is part and parcel of parental duty to take care of children. Although there were no smartphones when my daughter was a teenager, there were Blackberries and other mobile devices. She was not allowed one until she was 16. There's no reason at all why parents should give their children a mobile telephone unless they choose to do so. There is no reason at all why parents should give their children unfettered access to the internet either, unless they choose to do so. If they do choose to do so, then their child is bound to be exposed to unsuitable material, which includes sexual images and also violent imagery. If parents are okay with this, then fine, but there's no point then complaining that the child has been looking at pornography or viewing videos of people having their heads chopped off. I am incidentally aware that I spoke of this subject at some length only the other day. It's not that I have Alzheimer's and am mindlessly repeating myself. I know too that the average age of viewers of this channel is probably high enough that few will have children under the age of 16. This is a very important subject, though, for all of us, because it touches upon the extent to which we welcome the interference of the state in our lives. The government will be only too happy to introduce as many laws as they can get away with, which will restrict access to the internet, or block websites, or make it difficult for people to speak openly online. If they feel that the public will support them in such endeavours, on the grounds of protecting children, preventing sexual offences against women, reducing violence, thwarting terrorism, curbing hate speech, or any one of 100 other excuses, then the state will cheerfully censor the internet in Britain as much as is done in North Korea or China. We would be mad to let them do so, however, especially on the ludicrous grounds that they are protecting children. The state does not need to protect our children in this way online. Parents need to do that. And the idea that we should all have our free speech curtailed in case some parents cannot be bothered to monitor their children's use of the internet is frankly outrageous. Whenever the government gets up to some game of this kind and claims they are doing it for the sake of kiddies or old folk or something, we should always be suspicious of their actual motives, which invariably entail removing some liberty or other from us.